Hi everyone, welcome to After Hours, a visual novel featuring the Daycare Attendant from FNAF Security Breach, written by Snowyrey. It's fully voice acted, it's got 13 CGs, 5 puzzles, and 3 endings. And I will provide the link to it down below. It's on itch.io, so go and get it if you like them just as much as I do. So let's get into the game. This is my second attempt at recording this. It's storming outside with snow, so like it's very loud outside with the shoveling and the plowing. And I just couldn't get there to freaking record it. So here we go. That's me.
Hey, wake up. No sleeping on the job.
I jolt awake, a bright light in my eyes, and someone's hand on my shoulder. While I block it out with my arm, Vanessa finally turns off her flashlight and lightly scoffs in annoyance. How long was I asleep at this table? Lowering my arm, I have a small toolbox in front of me, and my phone is resting where I had my head laid down. Its shape is probably imprinted on my face now.
Good lord, when was the last time you slept?
I don't know.
Whatever. No one's here but us anyway. I'll keep quiet if you just do your job, alright?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, get to it.
Vanessa walks off as I stand up and stretch, feeling my joints pop when I raise my arms above my head. Deciding not to waste any more time, I pick up my toolbox and phone before heading through the massive doors leading into the daycare. The daycare's bright lights and rainbow colors are practically blinding compared to the rest of the Pizzaplex. Or maybe I just haven't fully woken up yet. Time to get this over with. I open up a panel behind the desk and cringe at the mess of wires in the wall. As much as I wish I could, I can't rush through this. I'll have to deal with each generator one at a time. Whatever. If it means I get to go to sleep sooner, I'll do it. Click the end of each cable in the correct order to proceed. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Standing back up, I stretch again, palms on my back as I let out a tired sigh. That is, until I hear the faint sound of what I think are gears and other mechanical bits turning, followed by something landing in the ball pit near the back. I'm pretty sure it's just the daycare attendant. After all, they should be the only other thing in here, and the small stage leading into their room is directly above the ball pit. Not that I know a lot about them. The staff hasn't said much. And since I'm still new here, I haven't even met them yet, nor have I met the other animatronics like the Glamrocks or DJ. Most of the robots I've gotten acquainted with have been the staff bots all over the building. I start walking to the ball pit, scanning it for signs of movement as I stand on the edge. That is, until...
Hello? Hey there, friend. Oh, I don't remember seeing you around. Are you new here?
Something, or someone, jumps up in front of me, and I'm suddenly lifted off the ground. Before I can even answer, I notice his eyes turn a light blue color, scanning me. I'm stunned into silence, staring at the robot in front of me as he steps out of the ball pit, holding me from underneath my arms as if I weigh nothing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. It's not every day I see a new member of staff here. It's pretty empty when all the kids go home, you know.
I'll definitely have to get used to how energetic this guy seems. He finally sets me back down, making sure I'm able to stand on both feet before letting go. Thanks, and yeah, I'm new here. Just finishing up my first week, actually.
Oh, and how's that been? Good, I hope.
Yeah, it's gone pretty smoothly so far. I start walking back to the desk, but the tall robot decides to follow me.
By the way, could you tell me your name? My My name's Sun, but people come up with all sorts of nicknames like Sunny, Sunray, Sundew. Some of the kids even call me Sundrop, like the candy.
Like the candy. Oh. Not gonna lie, I thought your name was Sundrop until now.
Oh, that's fine. A lot of people do that. And the name kind of stuck over time, which is fine by me.
Cool. My preferred name is Ave, by the way.
Well, it's great to meet you.
I can't help but smile a bit. But duty calls, so I make my way to one of the computers on the desk. I can faintly see his face reflected on the screen as he watches what I'm doing.
What you need the light off for?
I have to test all the generators in here to make sure they're working. Whoever messed with them last time left them a mess, so I have to do it one at a time. Considering how wordy he's been so far, such a short answer tells me something's up. Then again, I just met the guy. I could be overanalyzing. Something wrong?
No, just noticed how tired you look. That's all. I'll be right back. Gonna get something for you.
What? Why?
Just something to help carry you through the night. Judging by how many wires and generators you have to deal with, I have a feeling you might be here for a while.
Fair enough. Oh, the cute little noises. Okay, props to this voice actor for sounding cute. It's not like a one-to-one replica, of course, but I think it's good enough. They're definitely talented. I put in the command to turn off the power in the daycare. The music once playing from the speakers on the ceiling comes to a halt, silence blanketing over the massive daycare as the computer screens become my only light source. Removing my flashlight from my belt, I turn it on as I start making my way towards the play structures, since that's where the generators are located, for some reason. It's eerily quiet as I try finding the structure with the first generator. The lack of true ambience forces my footsteps to echo. The glowing red light of one of the generators enters my sight, so I continue on. Somewhere above me, I hear gears turning. I shine my flashlight toward the ceiling, only to see nothing there. Son? I flinch at the noise, frantically shining my light to see what's there. That didn't sound like Son. Son, are you there? Jump scare! I've dropped my flashlight, and I'm sitting on the ground after stumbling back from being startled. In front of me is the robot I've seen on the Moondrop posters, giggling hysterically. He seems proud of himself. I sigh, pick up my flashlight, and get back to continue what I was doing. Well, if I wasn't awake before, I definitely am now. He finally stops laughing after I say that. He makes a noise that sounds like he's clearing his throat before he starts to follow me.
Sorry for the scare. I couldn't help myself.
Sure. I take the first path into the play structure I see, hoping to find the first generator sooner rather than later.
You're going the wrong way.
Am I? I turn around and he has his arms crossed as he leans against the structure.
Yeah, I could lead you to the generator if that would make you feel better.
I think about it for a second. If this guy's anything like Son, hopefully he actually means what he says. Fine. I crawl back out of the structure, and he starts leading me to a different path. He clearly knows his way around, since we find the generator rather easily.
There you go.
He sits beside me as I go to turn it on, his glowing red eyes watching me as I do my job. Maybe it's just me, but don't you think those red eyes are kinda intimidating for a daycare attendant?
Yes, I've been told that before. It was a bug that made them look like this. But that's been resolved. The red eyes stuck, but they're not hurting anyone.
Fair enough. The red does kinda look cool with the blue and white.
Why, thank you.
I roll my eyes, a faint smile on my face. Now that I think about it, I never told you my name, did I?
I already know.
Oh, did Son tell you?
In a way, we're technically the same.
What does that mean?
We are the same body. I mean, Sunny can still see and hear everything that's going on as we speak.
Huh. So he was in on the prank too?
No, he's still lecturing me for it.
Serves you right.
I was just messing with you. But if you want, I won't do it again. For now.
Don't. Moon laughs a bit, leaning back against the wall of the structure.
I do think you should continue with that job of yours, though.
Right. On it. Focusing back on the generator, I flip the switch and watch as the red light on the device turns green. Well, looks like that works. I flip it again before making my way back out of the structure, and I hear Moon follow close behind. Standing up straight, I attach my flashlight to my belt before stretching my arms above my head. I sigh, arms dropping back to my sides as I go to turn the lights on from the desk. I hear the lights turn back on and the music of the daycare start playing as I turn around and flinch at the sight of Sun already there, smiling brightly.
Hello again.
Hey, so you two just switch out whenever you need to?
No, it depends on whether the lights are on or not. I'm in charge when the lights are on, and Moody's in charge when they're off.
Nope. I like the way he said nope.
I still don't like that he decided to scare you, though.
Weirdly enough, the sight of him irritated with his arms crossed is weirdly endearing. Hey, don't worry about that. I'm over it. Sun just pouts, turning his head away from me. I smile at the sight. Why do they keep the generators in there anyway? Don't you think it would be kinda dangerous to keep the generators in the place kids would be playing in?
Oh, well, that's just a temporary thing. They've kind of been out of commission, so thankfully they couldn't hurt anyone anyway.
And when exactly are these things getting moved? Sun looks like he's about to respond, but goes silent for a minute. I can literally hear the gears turning in his head. He just shrugs. Well, isn't that reassuring? I turn back to the desk so I can keep track of my progress. On it is a short checklist to keep track of how each generator is working. I start looking around for a pen when Sun sticks his hand in front of my face, holding one with a cute little dinosaur on the cap.
Here you go.
I smile at the gesture, taking the pen so I can mark my progress. Thanks! Alright, here we go again. I go back to the cables, sighing at the tangled mess I still have to deal with. Okay, so 1. Okay, 2. 3. 4. I stand up and take a look at my work. Time to do it all again, I guess. As I go to turn off the light again, I hear music blasting from somewhere else, which is weird since usually the radio is off when the Pizzaplex is closed for the night. Any idea what that music is?
That's the DJ. Oh, he makes his own music, so it's out of the ordinary to hear it during the night when everyone's gone home. I'd love to be friends with him, but I'm too busy to leave this place most of the time.
Cute. Really?
Yep.
When was the last time you've left this place?
Okay, well, technically I've never left. But every hour when the power gets rerouted, Mooney goes on patrol around the Pizzaplex to make sure we don't get any intruders. He says the DJ makes for good company.
I rub my eyes, feeling my lack of sleep catching up with me again. The stress of a new job is really taking a toll on my sleep schedule, I think. Why do they need Moon to patrol the place? Isn't that what the staff bots are for?
The staff bots help alert Moon to anything or anyone that shouldn't be there.
I let out a yawn as I go back to the computer. That's cool. Switching the lights off, the daycare once again descends into mostly silence. I hear gears whirring behind me as Moon hums slightly.
Still tired?
Oh boy, what gave that away? Or yeah. I'm gonna go with yeah.
I thought so.
I hear Moon step away for a minute. Yawning again, I take my flashlight off my belt as I start to approach the play structures, stopping once I'm a few feet away from the desk. I wait for Moon to come back, since I have a feeling I'll get lost if he doesn't help me with finding the other generators. Hearing the sounds of gears whirring above me, I point my flashlight toward the ceiling. He's easier to find this time, probably because he's not trying to startle me again. He lowers himself to the floor, a long cable hooked onto his back from the ceiling. So that's how he flies around the place? There you are.
Here, take this.
He holds out an already opened soda can for me to take. A grape-flavored fizzy fizz, to be specific. Thanks.
No problem. Sonny meant to get it for you earlier, but I had something different in mind.
I'm scared. He has a smug grin on his face. Yeah, you decided to scare me half to death. I roll my eyes as I take a long sip of the carbonated heart attack in a can.
Come on. Live a little.
Checking the watch on my other hand, I see that it's already nearing 1 in the morning. For the hour I've spent awake, I've gotten surprisingly little done. Great. You want to help with the other generators, or what? Moon's expression didn't change. He just stares at me for a moment before speaking.
You look exhausted.
I am exhausted.
Shouldn't you take a break then?
I take another sip of soda, raising an eyebrow. And do what?
Well, I have my hourly patrol to take care of. You could always tag along.
You know what? Yeah, sure. Just as long as Vanessa doesn't see me, I guess. Moon's smile grew ever so slightly at my statement, but it seemed like more of a genuine smile than his gremlin look from earlier.
I doubt that'll happen. The Pizzaplex is a big place, so the chances of her running into us are rather small.
I know, but still.
Trust me, it won't happen. Besides, you need to take it easy for a while. You look like you're ready to pass out.
I'd love to, if I didn't have a job to do. The cable still attached to his back, Moon hovers ever so slightly above the ground before approaching me.
Not right now, you don't.
Without another word, Moon wraps his arms around my torso before the cable lifts him up at least 40 feet above the ground. Holy! Panicked, I cling on to him as I stare at the ground far beneath us. Moon doesn't seem to react, simply navigating through the air, carrying me with him.
Don't worry, I won't drop you.
You better not! Moon clearly knows this place like the back of his hand, because it only takes around a few minutes for us to reach the atrium, with the giant holograms of the Glamrock still active despite the Pizzaplex being closed for the night. We pass over a few security bots who pay us no mind. Occasionally, one will look up at us and then continue on with the same blank expression as every other bot. Eventually, I get used to being so high off the ground. Moon says nothing as he scans the area for intruders, thankfully seeing nothing out of the ordinary. Moon lands on a railing on the 3rd floor of the atrium, likely about to change directions and head somewhere else. That is, until an alarm starts blaring from one of his speakers and he suddenly turns to look in a different direction. Hopping off the railing, Moon sets me down before hovering off the ground again.
Stay here. One of the staff bots alerted me to an intruder.
Before I can get another word in, Moon leaves, pushing off the railing to give himself a boost as he flies off. Sighing, I look up when I see another staff bot looking at me, seemingly confused? Just guessing by the way it stops and tilts its head when it sees me. It's hard to tell what these guys are thinking when they basically can't emote. You'll tell me if Vanessa's nearby, right? The bot stares. I stare back. I nod in understanding before going to sit on one of the booths at L Chips. Staring at the menu on the other side of the small restaurant, I remember something important. I haven't eaten anything since, what, this morning? Maybe that's also why I feel so out of it. If only I could inhale the pictures of food on the wall. I try the next best thing, and search behind the counter for basically anything that's edible. I find an unopened bag of nachos. Good enough. I head back to the booth, opening the bag of chips and eating my makeshift lunch. Peering back into the atrium, the bot isn't there anymore. From where I'm sitting, it looks like the number of staff bots around seems pretty sparse in general. Maybe they're gone to wherever Moon is? Not that I know where he went anyway. I don't think much of it, simply continuing to fuel up on chips while listening to the droning ambience of the many bright lights in the atrium. I can feel my ears ringing from the silence. That and the sound of me eating the chips alone becomes definitely loud. Maybe I somehow got used to the daycare's non-stop music loop already. It feels strangely empty here without it. The lack of ambience is almost unbearable. Standing up, I go to throw away the now empty chip bag, one hand on my head as my vision goes blurry for a moment, as if I stood up too fast. Walking back to the railing, I lean against it, looking down and squeezing my eyes shut as I try to quell this nauseating feeling. When I open them again, my vision is still fading in and out. And is it just me, or does my vision seem weirdly red? Stumbling back, I look around for one of the staff bots for help, disoriented by whatever is happening to me. But instead of a staff bot, what I vaguely see approaching me from the right is a gray humanoid silhouette and two bright red eyes fixated on me. Intruder. Startled, I make a run for the stairs, hoping to find a staff bot somewhere nearby. My vision still hasn't fixed itself. In fact, it's gotten worse, as I misstep and tumble down the first short flight of stairs. I force myself back up, using the railing for support before something grabs the back of my shirt. Hold on to the railing. I don't let go of the railing as I look behind me, now more clearly seeing the face of a gray rabbit costume with bright red eyes and a gaping black grin. What are you? I can't even hear my own voice. The ringing drowns it out completely as whoever it is successfully drags me away from the railing and back up the stairs as I try to grab at anything I can. Reduced to a rag doll, it gets harder and harder for me to try and escape as I'm dragged back into El Chips. I helplessly try to grab at the tile floor to no avail. The ringing is overpowered by the sound of my own heart pounding in my head at this point. We're nearing the kitchen at the back of the small restaurant, blocked off by a metal door. I'm running out of time. I try kicking my attacker, but they seem unfazed, using just one arm to drag me back. Their other hand wields a large kitchen knife. They're going to kill me. They're going to drag me into the kitchen and kill me. Where's Vanessa? Does she know what's happening? Would she be able to find us? Would I be dead and buried before anyone else knew I was gone? I'm just barely able to cling onto the corner of the counter, trying to buy whatever time I can. Call for help. I try calling for someone, anyone to help me, unsure if I can even be heard as my grip on the counter starts to slip. Call for staff bot. My attacker has both hands on the back of my shirt and is pulling hard. One of my hands slipped from the counter. I can't hang on much longer. I'm gonna save. Call for Moon. Moon! Moon, help me, please! My hand slips from the counter and I'm dragged back. I'm practically clawing at the floor, but the costumed stranger yanks me back before pushing open the door to the kitchen and throwing me in. There's no lights on in here, so I'm almost completely drowned in darkness as I land on the cold, tiled floor, save for the small beam of light coming from beyond the door. Looking behind me, I see that bit of light start slipping away as the attacker silhouette starts to merge with the darkness, their red eyes being the only thing I see. And probably the last thing I'll see. The beam of light from beyond the door floods back into the room, and the gray rabbit is nowhere to be seen. My vision finally starts to clear up as I look towards whatever landed nearby. A different pair of red eyes looks back at me and lunges in my direction. I scurry backward, panicked, until two familiar robotic arms grab me, pulling me back out of the kitchen and into the atrium. I can finally see clearly, and the ringing noise is completely replaced by my racing heartbeat. I stare out into nothing, even as I'm carried into the air. Flying back from the atrium to the daycare, Moon's grip on me is so strong that he's on the verge of crushing my spine. He finally starts to slow down as we pass over the daycare wall, the once eerie silence hanging over us. He makes a smooth landing on the floor, and the cable on his back unhooking and retreating back to the ceiling as I'm placed on the ground. He doesn't let go, though. It almost feels like his arms are shaking, or maybe that's me? I can't see his face. He's slouched in a way where my head is almost resting on his shoulder, and he's staring at the floor. His arms finally loosen, as if he just let out a relieved sigh before letting go of me. I myself can't find words for what just happened. Whenever I open my mouth to speak, my mind completely blanks. Instead, I drop to the floor. My fight or flight is still kicked in, and my hands are shaking uncontrollably. Moon's expression darkens slightly. Does he want to say something? His faceplate turns slightly, and he walks over to something over on the floor a few yards away. He silently picks it up and returns it to me. My flashlight. I'm pretty sure I can hear his fans revving up, and he looks like he's in deep thought. He sits down in front of me, resting his faceplate on the palms of his hands.
Did she hurt you at all?
I fidget with the flashlight a bit. Battery's dead. No, thank God.
Good. I'm sorry for not being there sooner.
It's fine.
You could have died.
Well, I didn't. You still showed up quickly enough that it didn't happen, so...
Barely.
Why do you care so much anyway? I basically just got here and, well, you barely know me.
This is my job. I don't just look after the kids. Everyone that steps into the building is my responsibility. And that includes you.
Moon suddenly gets back up and walks over to the massive doors by the desk. Where are you going?
Locking this place up. Whoever attacked you is still in the building. I can't leave you alone here to go deal with it. And bringing you with me is too risky.
I watch as Moon moves various objects in front of the door, from desk chairs to smaller play structures, basically anything decently heavy enough to barricade the door. Can't you just lock it?
Already did, but I'm not taking any chances.
Eventually, I'm able to stand up again and go over to the charging dock by the desk to recharge my flashlight.
I'm guessing you'd rather get out of here sooner than later, right?
Not in a rush to leave by myself, really. I live alone, so...
Oh. Still, you can't stay here forever. Well, if you want to keep going with the generators, just say the word.
Right. I remove my flashlight from the charging dock, and sure enough, it works. I turn it on and point it back at the structures. Shall we? Moon nods, and we waste no time finding the next generator. Thankfully, it works just fine now. With that over with, we go back to the desk to turn the lights back on. Speaking of, I wonder how Sun's taking all of this. Moon did say they can both see and hear everything happening, even if they're not the one piloting the robot body. I catch a glimpse of the time as I'm turning the lights back on. 2 a.m. The daycare is slowly lit up, and as usual, the music comes back on. Even with the cheerful music, the mood remains heavy as ever. However, I'm given no time to think as I'm spun back around by a very worried Sun, frantically checking me for any injuries.
Oh my gosh, are you sure you're okay? You poor thing, you must have been so scared. Oh, I'm sorry we weren't there sooner. If only we knew, we would have...
Don't worry, I'm okay. Sun, don't worry about it, I'm okay. Sun still looks guilty. He continues to check my arms and torso to see if I'm hurt, but at least he isn't pulling me around like a rag doll.
I have to worry. Keeping everyone safe here is my job. If I can't protect one person, then...
Sun is visibly distraught. His rays are practically drooping. Seems that didn't help much. Calm him with words, calm him with a hug, continue with your job. Let's do a hug. It's a bit of a reach considering how tall he is compared to me, even when kneeling. But I managed to wrap my arms around Sun's torso, hoping that'll calm him down. Sun doesn't say anything, but instead hugs me back, his internal fans getting much louder. He has one arm around my torso and one hand softly holding the back of my head. It's a gentle hug. It feels safe. We say nothing for a few minutes. I was trying to calm him down, but honestly, this hug is a huge comfort for me too. No wonder they're trusted with kids. Even as an adult, I feel an odd sense of security around them. Considering what just happened, it feels nice. Question. What was Moon alerted to anyway?
Oh, a little boy snuck in to see Freddy again.
He seems irritated when he says that. Again?
Yeah, this isn't the first time the little rule breaker snuck in here.
Something tells me that security isn't as strict as you would think, though, if a kid managed to sneak in more than once. But if he just wants to see Freddy, then I don't really see a problem with it. It's not like the kid's hurting anyone, and I doubt Freddy's gonna get him into trouble. He seems almost playfully bitter. What did this kid even do? Maybe I should ask later, though. I have to keep going with the generators. I don't get very far, though, before I'm suddenly picked up by Sun. What? Where are we going? Sun manages to carry me with one arm, using the other to move various other objects in front of the massive door.
Making sure no one's getting in here.
Can't you put me down, though?
No. After all that, there's no way I can leave you on your own now. What if that person finds you here and we're not around?
Sun, we're in the same room. If that person somehow got in, I'm pretty sure you'd notice. Looking up at Sun's face, I notice a long cable lower from the ceiling and hook onto Sun's back.
You heard Moon. We're not taking any chances.
Cute! We suddenly jerk upward, and I'm lifted into the air along with Sun, albeit much faster and more recklessly than Moon. Hey, at least let me call Vanessa first. I don't think she even knows about that freak since the staff bots didn't react at all.
Oh, gosh, you're right. Okay, but we're making it quick.
Sure thing. Sun suddenly changes direction in the air as we start heading back towards the desk. However, I think Sun tried dropping from this height way too early, as we basically start free falling towards the ball pit. Oh shit! Grab onto Sun. I'm just barely able to grab onto Sun before gravity takes me. We're both tangled in the cable though. Once again, we're stunned into silence. Just when I thought things were calming down, I feel my heart going a mile a minute from adrenaline, and Sun's internal fans are on full blast. I keep clinging onto Sun for dear life as we're slowly lowered into the ball pit. Clutching my chest with one hand over my racing heart, I'm able to get out of the tangled mess pretty easily. Sun is clearly having a harder time though, just trashing in the tangled cable. Sun, chill out. Let me get you out of that.
No thanks. I'm fine. I can get out myself.
I sigh, standing in silence for about a minute as Sun fails to get himself out. Sun? Sun finally stops, his faceplate drooping in defeat. Do you want my help now?
Fine.
Alright then, hold still for a second. Getting him out of the cable isn't hard. Once I'm done, I unhook the cable from his back and let it retreat back to the ceiling. I give Sun a minute before I decide to speak again. You want to get out of the ball pit now?
Yeah.
I can't tell if he's upset or embarrassed at what just happened as we exit the ball pit and make the walk back to the desk.
That's kind of why I don't use the cable, funnily enough. I usually just leave it to Moon.
Oh, really? Actually, I kind of get it now. Not to diss you or anything, but Moon seemed to know what he was doing, I think.
Yep, he has a lot more time to practice because of patrols, plus being active whenever the kids are sleeping.
So, he doesn't go free-falling and end up tangled in the cable?
Well, no, but I could do it just as well.
Nah, not doubting that. You just need more time. You tried your best, so I can't really be mad. Sun smiles sheepishly, his rays spinning a bit. Cute!
Well, I'm happy you think so.
How he manages to be this endearing is beyond me. He really is as sunny as his name. I can't hold back a smile as I go to pick up my phone from the desk. Glancing back at Sun, I pull up Vanessa's contact on my phone and hold it out for Sun to take. You want to call Vanessa for me? I can work on the next generator in the meantime.
Yes, please.
Sun wastes no time grabbing the phone and calling Vanessa, and I leave him to it as I go to sort out the next mess of cables. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Standing up straight, I stretch my arms over my head as I glance back at Sun on the phone. He has a device held in front of him, probably on speaker mode, and he seems concerned? Not that I was really paying attention to what he was doing just now.
There's no need for that. I'm sure you'll see what I mean if you look at the cameras. Maybe not right now, but whenever you have the time.
He's waving his other hand in front of him nervously, and his rays have shrunk a little bit. What did Vanessa say to him? Sun glances over at me for a moment before Vanessa starts talking again, and he sets his attention back on the phone.
If something really did happen, the staff bots would have let me know.
But what if they don't?
That couldn't be possible. I believe that if it was just one bot, but there's no way that many of them would just stop working out of nowhere.
Well, what if they didn't think the person was dangerous?
Son, that's not possible. They're supposed to go on, but they see someone that shouldn't be here. Look, I don't want to completely rule out what you're saying, but what you're telling me just doesn't add up. I'll ask him about it later. I have to go check on the kitty.
Before Sun can respond, Vanessa hangs up. His arms drop into defeat as I make my way over to him, and he hands back the phone. Are you okay? Sun forces a smile and waves his hands in front of him nonchalantly.
Yeah, fine, just worried.
Yeah, no kidding.
She thought it was this weird bug we had a while back, that maybe it was making me see things that weren't there.
A bug?
It's a long story, but she thought maybe I was hallucinating a rabbit we used to have here, when I told her the person was dressed like a rabbit.
What?
Yep, I tried telling her that it was real, since you were there, and
There used to be a rabbit here?
yeah, I don't know much about him other than his name was Bonnie. He was one of the Glamrocks.
Huh.
Yeah, the others don't really like to talk about it, so
I guess that's something else we can ask Vanessa about later.
maybe.
Remembering what I'm supposed to be doing, I put my phone back in my pocket and go to the computer to shut off the lights for the 3rd time. Halfway there. Glancing at the little digital clock in the corner of the screen, I keep a mental note of the time. 3 a.m. Gonna save again. I sigh, not wasting any more time in turning the lights off, watching as the room dims around me, and my only source of light are the screens and the little charging station on the wall. Yawning, I step back from the computer. I know I have to hurry up and get this done, but now that my adrenaline is starting to wear off, I don't know if I can. I sigh and glance back at Moon, who's giving me a knowing look.
Feeling tired again.
Yeah. Probably a mix of the adrenaline and sugar starting to wear off, I think. Maybe I was hallucinating the rabbit after all. I smile slightly at my joke. Moon, however, seems less than amused, giving me a deadpan stare. I clear my throat, reading the room, and taking my flashlight back out. I take my flashlight back out, making my way a few steps past the desk. However, when I look back at Moon, I notice the cable lowering behind him. He points a finger at me as he starts hovering off the ground.
Stay there. I'll be right back.
With that, he leaves, the cable allowing him to maneuver over the barriers of the daycare and disappear. Shrugging and lowering my flashlight, I stay put. Not like I was going anywhere anyway. I eventually decided to sit on the floor with my legs crossed and my chin resting on my palm. Since I have nothing better to do, I look around at my surroundings. Several towers of stacked foam cans, the sparkling floor, and large cutouts of the glam rock animatronics that decorate the place. For a place that's full of kids during the day, it's weirdly organized. Probably because of Sun. He did say that he never left this place, and I can imagine keeping it looking nice is a big reason why. Can't help but feel kinda bad, though. Sun and Moon's entire lives are in this daycare. I know they have each other, but I can't imagine spending all my time in such a small area. My train of thought is cut off when a pair of red eyes peer at me just beyond the barrier. I sigh, pushing myself back up. There you are, Moon. Are we gonna... A loud ringing hits my ears, and I jump, dropping my flashlight. What? Covering one of my ears with one hand, I try to pick it back up. And the familiar red haze overlays my vision. With it now back in my hands, I point it in the direction of the eyes. However, they disappear as quickly as they came, and the noise in my ears fades into nothing but the subtle ambience within the daycare. My arms drop to my sides. I hear the familiar sound of gears and robotics. When I look up, Moon is already re-entering the daycare. I'm not even sure if what I saw was real or my mind playing tricks on me due to stress. Either way, I try taking deep breaths to calm down my rapidly beating heart as Moon approaches me, the cable unhooking from his back and retreating back up.
I wanted to do a quick check around the daycare, just to keep an eye on things. Also, I brought you this.
He gives me an open can of Fizzy Faz, and although reluctantly, I take it. So, nothing out of the ordinary?
So far, no.
That's good. He stares at me for a moment as I take a long sip of the soda. Somehow it tastes even sweeter than normal.
Something happened while I was away.
Hmm?
Your heart's racing.
Tell him the truth. Well, Moon's expression softens as he waits for me to answer. I was over here, waiting for you to come back. And over there, point to where I saw them just past the barrier. I saw these red eyes. I thought it was you at first, but then I started hearing this loud noise. Moon's eyes widened slightly. It was the same thing I heard when that rabbit lady attacked me, so... Moon looks to where I'm pointing and takes a few steps toward it.
Did it look like she was trying to get in?
I don't know. She was just there. And right before you showed up, she just, well, vanished. I can hear Moon's internal fans getting louder.
Hopefully, that means she can't get in here.
Yeah, that would be nice.
The fact that she knows you're here isn't good, though.
You don't say. I take another long drink of the soda, using my other hand to point my flashlight towards the structures. Shall we now? Moon tilts his head at me.
Shouldn't you give it a minute?
Why?
I don't think trying to work with this level of stress is a good thing.
I'll be fine. I've managed to pass 12 hours on like 10 minutes of sleep. I'll live.
I can't say I'm surprised. Don't tell anyone I said this, but the people in charge of this place are known to splurge.
Moon gives me a bewildered look, sighing in annoyance. Look, just let me deal with this one generator, and after that, maybe I'll take it easy for a bit. Moon raises an eyebrow, clearly not entirely believing me. I don't know where that dialogue came from his, since it didn't match what was on the screen, so I think they might have coded the dialogue in wrong. Promise. I begrudgingly give in, for now. Moon sighs before nodding his head at the structures, motioning for me to follow him as he leads me to the next generator. I set the soda can on the ground by the structures before I follow Moon in. He plops down next to the generator, looking over at me. I nod, putting my flashlight down so I can test the generator. The machine's LEDs turn green as the mechanisms come roaring to life. Good. No problems. I do notice that my hand holding the switch is shaking a bit, though. More than normal.
Something wrong.
What?
You're just staring at it.
Oh. I switch the generator back off and pick up my flashlight before making my way back out of the structure. After picking up the soda can I left on the ground, I wait a moment for Moon to follow, lightly tapping my foot on the ground. Moon stands back up, albeit Moon stands back up, albeit still slouching, and gives me a concerned look.
Are you sure you're alright?
Yeah? Why? Moon points at my hand holding the flashlight. I didn't realize it, but I'm gripping the thing way tighter than I thought. I loosen my hold on it as I start walking back to the desk.
See why I told you to take a break now?
I roll my eyes. Yeah. Anyway, Moon stays silent, leaning back against the desk as I put down the soda and turn the lights on. It marked my progress and turned my flashlight off, watching his son sits on the desk, lightly kicking his legs back and forth.
So, break time.
I sigh. I can't. I have to finish this.
Hey, you said you'd take a break after that one.
Sorry, but I can't keep dragging this out.
Come on, please.
I make my way to the cables on the floor, being extra careful as I go to sit down since my hands are still shaking. A lot. 1. Wow, whoever's in charge of this cable management needs to be... Ah! What the... Sun suddenly grabs my wrist and practically drags me away from the wall.
You're shaking. It's not safe to do that now.
I got scared I did it wrong. Technically, he's not wrong. Hell, I'm practically vibrating. You sure that was a soda and not an energy drink that Moon gave me? I notice Sun's rays are shrinking a bit, and he's avoiding eye contact. Sun? Sun, what did you do?
Okay, maybe I put some soda in the drink. I thought it would help.
He says it so fast that his words start blending together, but I can still understand him. Seriously?
I'm sorry.
Sun lets go of my wrist, staring at the ground like a kicked puppy. Uh-huh. I try to go back to the cables, only for Sun to drag me over to the desk again. Sun, really?
I know I messed up, but messing with cables and machines with shaky hands isn't safe.
Go along with it. I sigh. You really think so? Sun stares at me for a second before nodding. I raise an eyebrow at him, but I decide to stop resisting. Alright, fine. Sun doesn't say anything for a moment before suddenly picking me up. What?
1 second.
I notice the cable lowering. Good lord, not again. Sun, no.
I'll be careful this time.
The cable lifts us off the ground, much more slowly this time. Okay, he isn't messing around this time. Since he's not rushing, this ride isn't nearly as reckless. We're only in the air for a few minutes before Sun steps onto the small balcony that leads into his room. Okay, why are we here?
Just a precaution. That's all.
Sure. Taking a good look at the room behind us, it feels oddly lonely compared to the daycare. There's a small staircase leading into the space, which is only faintly illuminated by the bright fluorescent lights behind us. There's some fairy lights strung to the wall, but several of the bulbs are broken or dim. The floor is wooden and looks like it hasn't been swept in ages, and there's various random objects strewn around the floor. Plushies, stools, foam shapes, and other things. In the corner next to a small chair is a broken staff bot, its body mangled and its head ripped off. I hear Sun give a nervous chuckle, clearly noticing me staring at his, well, less than colorful living space.
Welcome to my room.
Oh, both are kinda ouch. Why is it so dreary? Huh. For someone so happy, this place feels sad. I don't mean that as an insult or anything, just the vibe I'm getting.
No, I get that. Normally we don't get visitors, and we're so busy that we never really considered it.
Huh.
Well,
Sun goes and plops down onto a single beanbag chair in a corner of the room.
whatever you want to do up here, feel free.
Okay. I look around a bit, seeing if anything in particular catches my eye. One corner is covered in various drawings, most likely from the kids Sun and Moon look after on a daily basis. There's also a few messy rag dolls and other little things made to look like them, placed neatly on a small table. In another corner, what appears to be a hole in the wall leads into another room. My eyes land on Sun again. The damaged staff bot rests in his lap as he tries to reattach its head. He doesn't even seem to notice me watching at all. Seeing how careful he's being with it makes me wonder how that bot got up here in the first place. But maybe I should leave that question for later. Ask about the drawings. What's this? I point to the corner filled with the drawings. Sun beams when he looks at it.
All gifts from the kids. Mooney and I have been keeping each and every one of them.
Sun's head tilts, his fingers lightly tapping on the hardwood floor as he goes on about all the drawings and the things the kids made specifically for him and Moon. Got any favorites? My eyes are directed towards a little felt plushie of Sun. The fact that it's handmade is evident, with buttons for eyes and dried white glue over all the seams.
Of what Moon told you about the bug. I can't pick a favorite. I love all of them.
Okay, so there was another voice line that was not placed right in the previous. I stifle a laugh. That's sweet. Sun laughs nervously, but before he can say anything, the fairy lights give a brief flicker before dying out.
Oh, come on.
I just watch as they transform into Moon, who seems surprised.
Those cheap lights are probably burned out.
Ah,
I can't say I'm surprised. Don't tell anyone I said this, but people in charge of this place aren't known to splurge.
nah, I'm not arguing with you.
I will give them some credit, though. If it weren't for them being so stingy, I might not even be here right now.
What?
Remember that bug you've been mentioning?
I nod. Moon leans back in the chair a bit, facing the ceiling.
If you want, I can tell you some things.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious. It would definitely explain some things. Like how Moon got the red eyes and why the generators are in the play structures. I nod before dragging a small cushion a bit closer to where Moon is and sit down.
Where do I start?
Well, is that why they closed the daycare? Is that bug the reason they closed the daycare? I know the place was shut down for a while, but I didn't know why at the time, as that was a few months before I started working here. Moon nods.
It was a safety precaution. They needed time to fix whatever was wrong with me. So for a while, no one but the staff was allowed in here.
So the bug mainly affected you?
However, I would be lying if I said Sun wasn't affected at all. While the staff was using the generators to heal me, Sun was left on his own for a while. I won't go into detail, but I can't imagine what it felt like for him. Sun would go weeks without seeing anyone, while still having me to heal him.
He sighs, arms spreading out onto the floor as he stares at the ceiling.
I should have fought against the bug harder than I did.
Well, that certainly clears some things up. But it still doesn't answer everything. I still have no idea what exactly the bug did to Moon, but from what I can tell, it sounds pretty bad. That and how the bug came about in the first place is still a mystery to me. Maybe now isn't the time to ask. You weren't in control. Well, you weren't in control of yourself, right?
No, I wasn't, but
Then stop being so hard on yourself. I'd say you're more than making up for it now, and I think Sun agrees with me.
yeah, he does.
Exactly. A small smile. Oh, that's such a cute one! That one's so cute! What the heck? I just wasn't expecting the really cute background here. Oh my gosh. A small smile creeps onto Moon's face as he sits up. Oh, it's so cute! Oh my gosh.
If only the rest of the staff were just as nice. How are you feeling now?
What?
Is all the extra sugar starting to wear off?
I completely forgot about that, even though that's why we're up here in the first place. I stopped shaking, which is definitely a good sign. Yeah, I think so.
Alright then,
Moon gets up and walks to the balcony as the cable lowers to his level.
we can continue.
Yeah, one sec. Checking my phone for the time and any new notifications, I push myself up off the floor, one hand on the curtain-covered wall for support. However, I feel something stick to my palm when I pull my hand away. Peeling it off with my other hand, I realize it's a piece of paper that's likely been taped to the wall. What catches my eye, though, is one word written in bold black letters. Missing. I don't get a good look at the small poster before Moon's voice snaps me out of it. Yeah. I quickly cover up the poster with the curtain before speed walking to Moon. The lights from the daycare shining onto the balcony cause Moon to transform back into Sun, who waves at me. I pick up the pace a bit, going to stand next to him. Wasting no time, Sun picks me up and brings me back down to the desk. So I did notice there was an error there too, where it said that was dialogue, but it was actually description. Now, I realize that would be easy to do. I've made visual novels before. And it's not like a major one or anything. I just wanted to point it out. This game is still really good, and any of the errors that I've seen so far are made up with it by the really cute art style. My mind wanders back to the poster. The only other detail I got from that was that the victim is 7 years old. Just a kid.
So, what do you think?
Huh?
Of what Moon told you about the bug?
Oh. Must have been hard for both of you. Since Moon wasn't in control of himself, and you were basically isolated in here for what, weeks? Sun sighs as we walk to the desk, unhooking the cable from his back.
I don't really like thinking about it, but yeah. It does make me appreciate how things are now, though.
Cutie.
It also makes me appreciate having Mooney around, too. Not having him around for that long was not fun.
I shrug. Hey, I'd say you two at least learned something from it. Not that it completely cancels it out, but, you know. Sun nods, smiling brightly as usual. I sigh, glancing at the remaining cables. Take my phone out of my pocket to check the time quickly. 5 a.m. What? I think that might have been 4? Because when I saved it, it said 4-1. Well, I'm officially pulling an all-nighter, nothing I'm unfamiliar with. Okay, now we get back to the game. 1, 2. Oh, there's a lot of them. 3, 4, 5, 6. I stay seated on the floor for a minute, stretching my arms above my head as I lay down on the cold, hard tile. Sleeping in that chair definitely didn't do my back any favors. I close my eyes for a minute to block out the fluorescent light pouring into my eyes. Not that it really helps. Hints of orange and yellow manage to break through. I stay like that for a minute until something blocks out the light. Opening them, I see Sun standing over me, hands on his knees.
Are you okay?
I toss an arm over my eyes. Yeah, all good.
Need a hand?
I hear his footsteps as he moves around me. A good enough sign to peek out from under my arm as any. Sun's giving me his outstretched hand. Take his hand. Breathing out a laugh, I set my arm beside me and use my other to grab his. He smiles brightly as he pulls me up, putting his other hand on my shoulder for balance. Thanks.
No problem.
Sun gives me a pat on the shoulder before starting to walk back to the desk. I'm about to follow him, but I stop when I notice something. A few handprints on his back, along with bits of what I'm assuming is paint and marker ink. Sun?
Yes?
Is that paint on your back?
Oh! That's nothing. You know how kids are.
Sun laughs bashfully, waving his hand. Well, yeah, I figured. Does the maintenance staff help you with that at least? All he does is fidget with his hands, eyes towards the computer. Well, that answers it. Eyes furrowed, I followed Sun back to the desk. The staff really can't be bothered, huh?
Huh?
I lean over the desk, resting both arms on it as I look up at him. I don't know, the way you've talked about the staff here, do they really care that little about you and Moon? Sun shrugs, trying to keep the mood up.
Well,
Uh-huh. So, you're sure that it's fine? Son nods, the bells on his wrists emitting a soft chime as he gives me a double thumbs up. You'd think whoever's at parts and services would be more on top of things.
Well, I'm sure they're busy. There's no need to bother them.
Every part of Son's body is giving off a different signal. His hands wave everything off, his rays shrink back, and the smile he wears seems forced. Something wrong?
No,
I blink. Son clearly knows that I'm not convinced.
just they're busy enough as is. Wouldn't want them worrying about us.
Is this about the bug? Son's staring at the floor, one hand fidgeting with the ribbons around his wrists. He nods. Well, do you want to talk about it? If not, it's...
No. Mooney already let you in on it. It's only fair that I tell you some things too, right?
If you insist.
Well, while the daycare was closed, we weren't really seeing anyone. And of course, the staff didn't stick around long when they had to come in here. They mainly stopped by to install the generators and make sure they were working. To keep Moon away. And I heard some of them talking once. One of them asked if they really needed to keep both of us around after.
Oh. So that's why he doesn't like parts and services. He's still worried that they're going to get rid of Moon.
Everything's fine now. I know that. I still can't help but worry, though. I don't know if I can handle being completely alone here.
Moon did mention Sun being isolated for a while. But if the staff did all that just to keep Moon at bay... Huh. Well, you clearly don't like the idea of being separated like that. Sun nods. But hey, imagine if instead Moon just had his own body.
What?
You know, you both get your own bodies and you don't do the thing where you switch when the lights are turned off and on, you know? I shrug. Sun seems to be deep in thought.
If that happened.
I can hear the gears turning, literally.
Oh my gosh, I can finally hug him!
That's cute. I jump slightly, not expecting Sun to shout like that. Well, someone has his priorities set. But yeah, there's food for thought.
We can't eat, though.
Really?
Yes? Wait, why would we?
Just, I heard stories about one of the Glamrocks eating trash. I thought maybe...
What?
Nothing. To be fair, that would explain why their mouth doesn't open. Maybe I should try steering this conversation back on track? So, how do you feel about how things are now? I fidget with the scroll button on the computer mouse. Glancing at the time, we're almost halfway through the hour. Didn't think my shift would include this much talking. At least that makes this job more interesting than sorting cables in silence.
I can definitely say I like how things are. It feels nice knowing everything is mostly back to normal.
That's good at least. Sun suddenly grabs my shoulders and forces me to face the computer.
Keep going, then. I don't want to keep you from your responsibilities for too long.
Fair enough. I look back at the time and sigh as Sun sits on the desk again. Oh, for fuck's sake, I would have inhaled a whole bottle of melatonin pills if I knew I'd be up this late. Sun seems to do a double take, pointing at me like he wants to say something before backing off. What?
Language!
I raise an eyebrow, cracking a slight smile at his antics. Son, I'm an adult and there's no one around.
I know, just force of habit.
I snicker at that. Even when he's not working, he has a filter. That's kinda cute. That's kinda cute. Sun says nothing for a moment, his rays spinning as he sits cross-legged on the desk.
What?
I shrug, checking my phone for any notifications. Just the fact that you don't cuss at all. You definitely could. It's not like you'd get in trouble for it. But you just, well, don't.
Well, I have to. I'd
How about Moon? Does he have a 24-hour filter?
About that, I think the bug affected his filters a bit, so it's not funny.
It kinda is. Sun silently puts both hands on either side of my head before gently making me turn to face the computer before letting go. I roll my eyes, once cracking a smile at his antics. Alright, see you in a bit. The usual, lights out, moon's out, sitting cross-legged on the desk.
Drop it.
And there was another dialogue not to... So, about that filter.
Yes, I can say fuck about it.
I blink, not expecting that. Or at least not expecting him to do that so soon. Nothing. I step away from the desk, feeling a headache coming on when I start walking towards the play structures. Thankfully, it feels like a normal, I only slept for 10 minutes headache, and not a, the weird rabbit lady's about to kill me headache. Never did I think I'd be happy for my headaches to be from lack of sleep, as if this night couldn't get any weirder. Weirder? As if this night couldn't get any weirder. Moon hops off the desk and catches up with me. Honestly, I think I deserve workers' comp for this. 'Cause I'm definitely not being paid enough to barely survive being murdered by a woman in a rabbit onesie.
Don't joke like that.
Shh, I'm coping. Moving on.
That aside, you'd be lucky if they even believed you.
Moon makes a gesture, asking me to follow him, and I tag along as he guides me towards the 4th generator.
Not that it's your fault. There doesn't know what you would call urgent. Again, don't tell anyone I said that. I'm not trying to get scrapped anytime soon.
Ooh, Moon talking shit about his employers. Yeah, good plan. I can faintly see the red light of the next generator behind the frame of the center structure. Just one more after this and I'm home free. One more and I'll get to leave. I'll leave not knowing when or if I'll see these two again. Might as well get any questions out of the way now. Hey, random question. If you don't mind me asking about the bug again, well, any idea where it came from in the first place? Bugs don't just spawn out of nowhere, unless someone messed with your programming or something. Moon doesn't say anything for a bit as he guides me through the structure.
I can't say for sure, but it was definitely some kind of tampering.
You think it was malicious or just some sort of oversight?
Well, it seemed very intentional, so I doubt it was just a mistake in my code. But at least we shouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
We shouldn't? That's good. My mind wanders back to the poster I saw in his room. I'm hoping that I'm just overthinking this, and the poster being there is just an unfortunate coincidence. However, my thoughts cut off when Moon suddenly turns and sits right next to the generator.
Your turn.
I nod, shuffling over and whipping the switch, listening to whatever motors and mechanisms are inside power on as the LED light flickers to green. 4 down, 1 to go. I turn off the generator as Moon makes a head start back out, and I scramble to follow him. Moon stands up straight, letting out what sounds like a sigh as he stretches his arms above his head. For a moment, I'm reminded how tall he and Sun actually are, just as he goes right back to his usual slouched stance. Moon notices me looking and tilts his head slightly.
What?
Compliment. Christ, you're tall. Moon looks at me confused, like if I just asked if the sky is orange.
That's it?
Well, yeah, didn't really think about it until now, but my god, you're built like a whole giraffe. Moon snickers at my comment, leaning back against the structure behind us.
Should I take that as a compliment?
Oh, Bro. Yes. Moon crosses his arms, looking down at me while he waits for my response. Oh no. Jesus Christ, why is he looking at me like that? This is very awkward for me. Yeah. I gave him an awkward thumbs up as if I didn't just forget how the English language works. Moon shakes his head, clearly entertained at my embarrassment. He giggles to himself as he starts walking back to the desk. I'm dying. I'm dying. Cheese sandwich. Am I really flirting with a robot right now? Maybe it's about time I do some serious introspection. Or I pretend that's entirely normal in hopes that it happens again. My god, focus! Oop. I quickly snap myself out of whatever I was just experiencing. Of course I follow him back, stopping at the computer. I know. Last one. It feels kind of weird knowing it's almost over. Earlier it felt like I was making no progress, and now I'm about ready to leave for the night. Glancing at the clock, it reads 6 a.m. But, okay, I guess I'm getting a good ending. I think I saved and ruined it for myself. With my hand on the mouse, I stare at the screen with the option to turn the lights back on. Maybe it's just paranoia over something bad happening when I step out the door, but part of me doesn't want to leave yet. Even though I already know I can't stay forever. I guess Moon caught me staring into space, though, as he waves a hand in front of my face. I blink, snapping back to reality. Snap back to reality. Huh?
It looked like you were spacing out.
Oh, well, you'd be right about that. We stand in silence for a minute before Moon speaks again. Yeah?
Do you think we'll see each other again after this?
I don't know what I can say to that. I don't make those decisions. But considering how kind Sun and Moon have been to me, it would be nice to see them more often. Actually, thinking about it makes me remember something else. Well, I don't make those choices here, but I know that the Glamrocks all have their designated mechanics. I just barely noticed Moon's expression brightening slightly. Maybe if I get some more time here, I could ask about that?
If it helps, Sunny and I could put in a good word for you.
That would definitely help. Thanks. I look back at the screen, feeling a bit of new motivation. Ready? Moon nods, and I turn the lights back on, wasting no time going to the last few cables that need sorting. Ooh, there's 8 of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Before I can even move, Sun picks me up and places me on my 2 feet himself. Looking up, I can see him smiling down at me, his hands on my shoulders. Hey, Sun.
Hello.
So, what do you think of my little designated mechanic idea?
It's a great idea. But until then, please stop by whenever you can, okay?
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Sun's expression brightens, his rays retracting and expanding in what I think is safe to describe as joy. We both stand in silence for a moment, and I glance back at the computer. All I have left is to turn the lights off, test the last generator, and then I'm home free. I think Sun notices my gaze as he lets go of my shoulders and lightly nudges me to the computer.
Go on. I'm sure you want to go home, right?
I shrug. It would be nice to go pass out for a few hours. What about you, though?
Well, I won't be leaving anytime soon. I still have plenty to do to prepare for tomorrow when we reopen.
That makes sense. I decide to quit stalling and turn off the lights for the last time, Sun standing behind me as I do so. As usual, the daycare is cloaked in a droning ambience, and I can clearly hear the attendants' mechanisms behind me as Sun transforms into Moon again. You ready? Moon nods, already walking ahead.
Small question.
Hmm?
Would you mind if we locked you out of here? Just in case that person is still around somewhere.
As I follow him, I get flashbacks to just a few hours ago. Yeah, I'd appreciate that, thanks.
It's the least we could do.
The last generator is at ground level, so it doesn't take long for us to find. I still have to tell Vanessa about the whole thing later, too.
It's true.
Whenever I come back here, I'll keep you and Sun updated. Scooting over to the generator, I flip the switch. To my absolute surprise, it works. After switching it off, Moon and I exit the structure in silence. So, this is it, huh? Moon nods as he walks back to the desk. I follow. I look at the computer screen before glancing back at Moon. Hug him goodbye. Ignoring the computer for now, I wrap my arms around Moon's torso in a tight hug. He freezes for a moment, most likely not expecting it. He eventually hugs me back, though, gently placing his hands on my back. We stay like that for a minute. I'm practically leaning on him, and I feel his hands lightly gripping the back of my shirt. I do let go eventually, though, smiling up at Moon's as I'm about to turn the lights on. Moon smiles back, his arms crossed. Oh! My hand on the computer mouse, I glance back at Moon for the last time tonight. See ya, Moon. Moon smiles slightly, his head tilted a bit. The daycare is lit up again, and I watch as Moon transforms into sun. Not a word leaves his mouth. So, ready to head out? He shrugs, fidgeting with his hands.
I guess this would be my first time out of the daycare, which is exciting.
Oh, honey. Yep. I go to pick up my stuff and make sure I'm not forgetting anything as I walk to the door next to the desk. Sun goes ahead and moves some of the makeshift barricade away. I gesture for him to follow me before I push the button on the wall, taking a few steps back while the door opens. As we're making our way to the nearby staff-only room, I glance back at Sun, who seems almost mesmerized at our surroundings. I don't blame him. He's never been able to see the rest of the Pizzaplex through his own eyes until now. The staff-only room is pretty mundane, but Sun is lighting up at every detail. He seems to snap out of it once we reach the exit, though. His eyes are back on the door, and he's back to fidgeting with his hands. Last hug. Dropping my stuff on the floor, I charge at Sun with a hug, making him stumble back a bit. He seems almost stunned for a moment before picking me up and squeezing me back, laughing. I lightly kick my feet back and forth in the air, just savoring the moment before I have to leave. Sun steps ahead of me to hold the door open, the nearly empty parking lot waiting outside. Thanks, Sun.
No problem.
After taking a few steps outside, I look back at him, waving my free hand. He waves back, energetic as ever.
Bye.
Bye! I continue my walk to my car, hearing the door close behind me and the faint sound of bells slowly fade away. I get to my car without any problems, placing my belongings on the passenger seat before starting the engine. I can feel a small headache coming on as I back out of my spot, but I'm sure it's nothing some sleep won't fix. As I'm leaving, though, I notice something in my rearview mirror. Or at least, I think I do? When I look, though, there's nothing unusual. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I decide I want to get home before I pass out behind the wheel, so I keep my eyes on the road, leaving the Pizzaplex behind me for the night. Oh! Okay, so that was the first ending to the game. I'm gonna try and get the other two, and I'll get back to you guys with the review. I have no choice in the matter.
You'd be surprised.
Doubt it. I'm about to switch the light back on when Moon's alarm goes off. He snaps his gaze to the massive doors next to the desk as the cable drops.
Give me some time to deal with this. If I'm not back in a few minutes, fix the next generator and get out.
I don't get a chance to respond before Moon leaves in a hurry, hovering above the barriers and disappearing from sight. Time to play the waiting game, I guess. I wonder what he got alerted to anyway. I can't be that kid again, right? Actually, now that I think about it, I know next to nothing about that whole mess. Could be worth asking Vanessa about. About 10 minutes pass while I scroll away on my phone, trying to kill the time and wait for Moon to return. I'm not sure what counts as a few minutes, but it's starting to feel like too much time. Is it smart to try leaving this place alone when Moon was alerted? I don't know. He did say to get out if he didn't come back soon, though. You know what? The longer I'm here by myself, the more of a sitting duck I am. Chances are I can make a mad dash out and tell Moon some other times that I didn't feel safe sticking around. I make sure to set the command to turn the lights on before gathering my stuff and leaving it by the desk for me to grab when I'm done. Make a quick drop next to the last few cables. Ah! Cable game! I hop onto my feet before speed walking to the desk to turn the lights off for the last time. Keeping a tight grip on my flashlight, I speed walk to the structures to find the final generator. I can kind of narrow down where it would be after having help from Moon and finding them 4 separate times. It's a bit of a process, and I make a few wrong turns here and there, but I'm able to find it on my own. Flipping the switch, a wave of relief washes over me when the LED flashes to green and the generator powers on without any problems. With the last test run done, I flip the switch back off and waste no time getting out of the structure and back to the desk. I press the button on the wall to open the door, bag in hand, and walk out while constantly checking my surroundings for anything that looks suspicious. A staff-only door enters my view, and my pace quickens to a jog. I use my temporary ID to get in, finally ending my night here and being free to go home. After another staff-only door, I'm met with the cool nighttime air once I step into the massive parking lot. Sparsely placed cars force the space to look a little less barren. A few lampposts illuminate the way to my own car. Another headache rears its ugly head, but I consider it another effect of my 10 minutes of sleep. Key in hand, I slow my pace as I'm nearing the driver door. My head feels light when I press the button on my key to unlock the door. I grab the handle and notice something in the reflection of my driver door's window. Red eyes. Spinning around, I try swinging my fist at the familiar rabbit. She dodges. My vision becomes clouded in red and white. She violently grabs me by the neck, pinning me against the car door, and I'm unable to move. I try to claw at her costumed hands as she gets disturbingly close to my face, her eyes practically blinding. It is only then that she speaks.
Are you having fun yet?
Sun goes ahead, probably to move some of the makeshift barricade out of the way. His alarm stops him in his tracks. We exchange worried looks. Sun runs up to me, picking me up while the cable lowers and hooks onto his back. Wasting no time, he brings me up to his and Moon's shared room, almost messing up the landing before placing me on the ground and hopefully out of harm's way.
Stay here. We'll be back.
I can't get another word in before Sun leaves, the nighttime sequence active in the rest of the Pizzaplex as I watch him transform back into Moon from a distance. Noticing the one door that leads out of the room, I block it with a beanbag chair and a few other things just in case. However, as I'm doing that, I remember the hole in the wall I spotted earlier. A hiding place. Forcing myself through the small gap, I drop to the floor on the other side like a sack of potatoes. With a face full of dust, I push myself back up. I use all the boxes I can find to cover up the hole and stop any light from leaking. All I can do is wait now, trying to calm myself down until Sun or Moon returns. The occasional sound effects from the arcade machine in the corner catch my attention. A potential distraction? Oh no! The game isn't too loud, but I'm still wary about it potentially giving me away. Until I remember the electrical tape I also brought with me. I decided to cover up the speakers with it and at least give the game a try now that I actually have my wallet with me. After brushing the dust and dirt off my clothes, I insert a quarter into the machine before the game starts for what is most likely the first time in a decade or so. I'm sorry. Someone's literally out to kill you and you decide to play an arcade game while you're hiding? The game itself isn't too bad. It very much reminds me of a Flappy Bird, but way more forgiving. The little sun and moon in the corner of the screen certainly helps to lift my mood a bit. I'm able to make some progress as I keep my surroundings in mind, making sure I listen for anything suspicious. Nothing of the sort happens, so I continue with the game. Maybe some random burglar decided to try their luck or something. Wouldn't be the weirdest thing to happen by a long shot. I smile slightly at the mental image of a poorly masked burglar coming face to face with Moon and freaking out. However, my train of thought is cut off when I notice something. Out of order. A weird purple box towards the bottom of the screen. Wondering if it's some kind of glitched item, I let Balloon Boy fall towards the bottom of the screen to try and pick it up. However, what I'm met with is Balloon Boy phasing through the obstacles as the visuals are coated in a fiery orange color, the sun in the corner taking a weird dark appearance. The screen freezes on this visual change as distorted music continues to play. Pressing the buttons and moving the joystick does nothing. Shit, I broke it. Is this what I get for touching a weird glitchy box in a game that hasn't been touched since the Stone Ages? Probably. Groaning in annoyance, I step away from the machine, debating on whether I should take a nap on the dusty, unclean floor until either Sun and Moon come back, or morning comes and Vanessa lectures me again.
Wait, don't leave yet.
I jump a whole 2 feet in the air, placing a hand over my rapidly beating heart as I back further away from the machine, still stuck on the broken visual.
There's nothing to be scared of, I assure you.
Is the game talking to me?
Still shocked? I suppose that's fair.
What the hell are you?
Give me just a moment.
As if this couldn't get any weirder, a hand starts reaching out from the game, appearing glitchy and broken like the game itself. Panic, I grab the nearest item, a Chica plush, and chuck it at the screen. The plushie phases through the hand, but it dissipates anyway. Actually, now that I think about it, the hand looks a lot like Sun and Moon's, except it's a dark brown and red color.
What? Alright, that was just rude.
Answer the question! The voice sighs, and I see something pop up onto the screen. A familiar-looking celestial robot coated in dark, warm colors and sprouting 4 arms with bells and ribbons tied to the wrists.
See?
Its face looks very similar to the messed-up Sun visual. Even if I were to scratch and claw and search, there are no words for me to find this, although I am considering crawling back through the hole and pretending I never saw this.
Come on now, am I really that frightening?
The hell? How?
Heard Moon mention it earlier.
Am I talking to a sentient glitch right now? I thought nothing could top nearly being killed by a rabbit with a knife. Oh, how wrong I was.
You may call me Eclipse.
Oh, how creative. You're not gonna possess me or something, are you?
Not unless you ask. Besides, you're too far.
Okay, thanks for the advice. Have a nice life. Pick up my stuff, about to turn and head out before this gets any weirder.
Wait, allow me one more question. Please.
Hell no, I'm not buying whatever you're trying to sell me.
Look, at least let me speak. If you really wish to opt out, you can leave this room and forget you ever saw me. All I ask for is a bit of help.
Teeth? With what?
Where?
Clip starts to stick one of his forearms out of the screen. However, it only lasts a few seconds before dissipating, separating into glitch-like particles and fading away.
As you can see, I'm bound to this machine. Without a physical body to move around with, I'm essentially trapped in this room until the higher-ups inevitably decide to bulldoze it and replace it with a warehouse.
Oh, well that's nice.
All I ask for is help finding another body, so I can finally leave this cursed room. As long as it can move around, I don't care what it is. However, I do have some preferences.
Oh man, am I gonna get my robot husbands murdered, taken over, destroyed? Such as...
Is it not obvious?
With all 4 arms, Eclipse gestures to himself.
If possible, I'd like to coexist with your new friend.
Sun and Moon?
Yes. They already managed to share a body with one another. I'd like to think there's room for one more. Would you help me with that?
Ugh! What do I choose? I wasn't expecting... I can try. Is this a good idea? I'm not sure myself, but even if it doesn't work out, I can always walk away from it. It's not like Eclipse can really stop me. I can try. I don't know, I could ask him about it, but that's it.
I'd prefer it if you brought them here, honestly. I believe I'd be more convincing face to face.
Hell no, you're gonna possess him. Something about that sentence feels ominous. Look, I don't know. I already have to leave soon, and I don't know when I'll be back.
If it makes things easier, you could just bring me to them. Who knows? Maybe if you start getting to know me in that time, Sun and Moon may not even be needed.
What does that mean?
I certainly wouldn't mind sharing a physical form with you.
Oh! Oh. That's what it means. Okay, slow down.
Just a suggestion.
He lets out a devious chuckle, clearly amused at my reaction.
In the end, the choice is truly yours. So I recommend you use it wisely.
What the heck? Hold on. Let's save again. I want to do the flirt first. I sigh, mentally beating myself up for this decision. This is probably the dumbest decision I could make. Most likely. Does it at least sound kind of interesting? I'd be lying if I said no. Mentally preparing myself, I walk back to the arcade machine standing directly in front of it. Come on, let's get this over with. Eclipse's grin widens almost to a sinister degree.
How kind of you.
Eclipse's face suddenly phases through the screen, and I stumble back, tripping on air due to shock and falling back. Eclipse wastes no time pulling itself out of the machine with all 4 arms and smiling down at me.
You seem to find me so intimidating, yet you still don't run. How priceless. I do believe we'll enjoy our time together.
Huh. Okay, alright. Hey! What? I can't click on anything. I can't click on anything! Okay, so I guess that's the end of that. Okay, guys, so this is post-editing KJ Ave here. So I just went through and finished editing the whole video, and now I think I'm confident enough to do a review of the game. So I don't know if this was the devs' first game, and if it is, they did a really good job. My only main complaints, like, there's a few of them, but they're not anything too bad. I did notice that a lot of audio clips played seemingly out of nowhere that didn't coincide with the dialogue on the screen. That is probably just a coding issue, perhaps. They probably just put it in the wrong spot, or maybe they moved code over from one part to another so they didn't have to rewrite it and forgot to remove an audio clip. It happens. I've done it before when I've made visual novels. It's an easy fix, and it's not even really that big of a deal. At the end of the game, I noticed that when I was done with the secret ending, I could not interact with the game screen anymore. It kind of just broke. I'm not sure how to fix that, and it's not a big deal either. A simple restart would help. But with games like this, a lot of the times when you close the game, you lose your progress of it, which is why I did not do the other dialogue options in the secret ending. I had to close the game and relaunch it, and I did not have any saves, so I couldn't go back and do that. Again, not too big of a deal if you're only going to do one playthrough. Fortunately, the dev made a workaround with that where you can just go into the alternate endings tab on the main page and watch the endings from there. You don't have to play the whole game to get those endings. And there's also a few minor spelling and grammatical errors, but again, not a big deal. It doesn't take away from the game. I overall think this game was actually really cute, really fun to play, and I think the dev did a really good job. So, like, kudos, man. I would say, like, 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this, because I know I did.